Welcome back, and a very special welcome to our next guest. Her name is Reggie Littlejohn. She is the founder and president of a remarkable organization, Women's Rights Without Frontiers. She has been an activist on behalf of not just women's rights, but all human rights for decades. She's an attorney by training, an extremely effective advocate, and we're always delighted to have her here at Securing America. Reggie, welcome back.
Thank you so very much, Frank. It's great to be here.
You have been leading a remarkable effort. I've been pleased to be participating in it on trying to stop something called vaccine passports. People can find out a lot more about it at stopvaxpassports.org. Um, I'm not sure that most of us know what that is. I mean, there's a lot of talk about masks and all of this COVID business and mandates that you have to wear them, and then lockdowns, and then vaccine passports. Not so much, but vaccine mandates, surely. But what are the passports, and why should we be concerned about them?
In my opinion, Frank, the point of the vaccine mandates is to get us to a place of requiring vaccine passports because they are a potential tool of mass surveillance and social control based on the China social credit system. So, as you just said, people are very focused on the mandating of the vaccine itself or the mandating of masks. And now that those are being rolled back and being eased up, people are being lulled into a state of complacency, and they don't realize that the vaccine passports are being rolled out. So there's an article that recently came out from Politico. It says more GOP states are now wagering on vaccine passports technology, but they're not calling them vaccine passports because we have succeeded in getting that terminology to be radioactive. So they're calling them smart health cards, and they're marketing them as, oh, this is a convenience. But according to tech experts, the same functionality that can be that comprises the China social credit system can be attached to these vaccine passports. And I'm talking about the digital apps on your phone, not a paper passport. Digital apps on your phone.
Okay.
Same functionality as the China social credit system.
Then let's back the lens up a little bit and talk about what that is. People may be familiar with the term uh, social credit, but I suspect they don't really understand what it means in practice, let alone if it were to be applied in our own country, not just China or elsewhere.
Okay, so let's talk about China. The China social credit system is it's a 360-degree view that they get of you digitally. So all of these different things are put together to come up with a credit score. So they have your facial recognition, they have real-time geolocation, they know exactly where you are. They are tracking all of your social media posts, your internet search history, your internet spending history, criminal history, medical history, where you work, where you live, your credit cards, your bank accounts, and also your COVID status. So they put this all together, they come up with a score. And if you have a high score, you will have privileges in society, which are really just rights. So you will have rights like you can travel. You can keep your job. Your kid can get into a good school. You can borrow money to get a house. If you do searches that they don't like a search for what happened on Tiananmen Square or Free Tibet or Taiwan invasion, anything that they don't like, Xi Jinping, Winnie the Pooh, okay, you search for that, your score is going to plummet. So what's going to happen? You're not going to be able to borrow money to buy a home. You can lose your job. Your kid cannot get into a good school. You will not be able to travel, okay? And if it goes down below that, they can freeze your credit cards and your bank account, so you will be unable to live. And we saw a version of that in Canada for the truckers and the people who supported them.
Yes.
And if it goes low enough, they can disappear you in a moment's notice because they know exactly where you are at all times.
Now, Reggie, when you say they, obviously in communist China, you're talking about the Chinese Communist Party can do all of this to you. You're, you know, commenting on Canada is a reminder that this is not necessarily confined to that particular communist totalitarian system. It can happen in the West as well. Um, to the extent that this can happen, there's actually evidence that governors, including Republican governors in our country, have been helping advance, or at least not opposing, the institution of these so-called smart health cards here. Talk a little bit about what's happening on that front, and what are you trying to do about it?
Well, okay, so here's this political article which I mentioned, and they said that now technology is gaining momentum in at least 5 states: Arizona, Mississippi, South Carolina, Oklahoma, and Utah, to impose these smart health cards. I have to say,
Those would
Maryland,
all be Republican governors states.
those, yes, okay, but I want to say something, that in Maryland they were trying to impose it, and we opposed it. And I sent, an email to all the key legislators about this, and they backed down. They backed down, so that now vaccine passports are off the table in Maryland. These can be opposed effectively. So what we are doing is we have an Align Act campaign on the stopvaxpassports.org website.
Right.
And this is a very powerful tool where you can just input your name, your address. You have to have that in order to send emails to legislators. And then you can,
Your legislators
your
specifically.
legislators, that they
Right.
require it. Okay, they require that they know that you're a constituent. Okay, so that you can sign up for this and send an urgent message to your legislators that you do not want this vaccine passport. And as I mentioned to you, I have an article here from Yahoo News called Worldwide Social Credit Industry. Okay, the worldwide social credit industry infrastructure represents a $16.1 billion opportunity by 2026. So there's a
Wow.
major economic driver to this as well. That there are companies that are drooling over providing the technology for this. So there's political reasons of surveillance and control, and there's economic reasons, and we have to stand up, because if we don't, and this gets into place, what will happen is it'll be too late. Once we
Yeah.
are being surveilled, once all of our social media posts, etc., can be attached to our bank accounts, then it's too late. There will be no dissent.
So, Reggie, let me just recap. What you're saying is that there is a political head of steam in certain official circles to put into place these control mechanisms. They're not going to call them control mechanisms. They're going to call them, as I say, smart health cards. But they are capable, on very short order, of being used for control. And it's being done at the same time, even in states that have Republican leadership, as the seeming direction is in the opposite, namely relieving us of some of these mandates and lockdowns and burdens associated with, for example, mandatory vaccination. So it's hard to overstate the importance of what you just said. I'm sure, especially with the experience of some like Maryland, where this resistance has been mounted. Our friend Naomi Wolf and her efforts have also, I think, been effective in other states. But when you look at the money, these politicians, even if it's not control, the appeal of simply having, well, I don't know, new tax revenues or new investment opportunities or something else may well be catalyzing movements that are kind of below the radar for most of us. And unless something like this Align Act campaign, and I salute you for leading on this, is advanced, and the reason it's so important that you be in touch with your own legislator is they're going to be a lot more responsive to you than just somebody else's constituent. So you have this opportunity at stopvaxpassports.org to become engaged in sparing us all what may well be this, incipient Chinese tool for monitoring, surveilling, and yes, controlling us to the profit of some, including in political circles. Have I got that about right?
That's exactly right, Frank.
Wow.
And the reason that I have been raising the alarm about this is that there are two tech experts, Dammy Wolf that you mentioned, and also Jay Valentine, who developed the fraud detection software for eBay and also the American no-fly list. And they are
Wow.
the ones who have said that all of this functionality of the Chinese social credit system can be attached to the smart health card, the vaccine passport, the digital ID, whatever it is, in a matter of minutes, not hours, not weeks, months, or years, minutes. So I feel like that they've set a trap for us. You know
Yes.
the mandates are going down, and everybody's going, oh, I'm so relieved. And meanwhile, this whole thing is happening under the radar screen, as you say, and we're trying to raise the alarm and stop it.
Yeah. Well, I thank you, as always, Reggie, for your leadership as well as your visits with us from time to time. This is truly, I think, the Lord's work. If we want to retain the freedoms that we hold dear, freedoms guaranteed by our Constitution, but that can be removed at will. And again, we're not making this up, folks. Think about how badly your freedoms have suffered in the course of this COVID experience to date, and then go sign up at Align Act, the stopvaxpassports.org campaign. God bless you, Reggie. Come back to us soon. Robert Spencer is up next on Jihad, and you straight ahead.